Have you ever felt like something is off? Like a strange energy is influencing you or someone you know? Maybe you all are experiencing sudden mood swings, unexplained exhaustion, or even feelings of being watched. These could be signs of a spiritual attachment. However, I want to preface that not all attachments are negative, and some are actually beneficial for our protection or to help us bring inventions, ideas, and other creative innovations to life, as well as to offer general support in the various stations we experience in life as well. In today's video, I'm going to break down the major warning signs of negative spiritual attachments. I'm going to talk about what they are, how to recognize them, and potential remedies for your situation. Let's get started. Hello everyone, this is the Obelisk Lounge and my name is Justice. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I'm a spiritualist and a diviner who helps people to understand and connect with their purpose and to activate their unique spiritual talents to help them live a more liberated, intentional, and evolved life so that you don't have to come back to Earth unless you want to or you have to. So, what is a spiritual attachment? A spiritual attachment happens when an external entity or spirit attaches itself to someone's aura. Your aura is your first line of spiritual defense. It is comprised of many layers that I won't cover in this video. I'll actually probably save it for another one, but it's essentially the energetic field around a person. These spirits can range from ancestors, an astral spirit, a random one, a ghost, spiritual parasites, animals, and even, of course, demonic entities. A spirit that attaches itself to you is either seeking energy and or control, or like I stated at the beginning of the video, sometimes for protection and help. But again, just to restate the purpose of this video, it's to talk about the negative attachments. If it's needing energy, then it's primarily seeking your vital life force energy, which is one of the purest and highest vibratory energies that all humans emit. This energy can assist us in great transformations and even miracles, especially when you know how to cultivate it effectively. Vital energy, also known as chi, ka, prana, ashe, etc., can be likened to liquid gold or silver for us here on Earth. An earthbound spirit or an earth roaming entities can benefit from it greatly. If they are seeking to control you, then they need a vehicle to carry out certain deeds or to participate in certain actions that they once enjoyed greatly on Earth. Overall, these attachments can drain your energy, influence your thoughts and actions, and cause emotional or physical distress if they are left unattended. So, spiritual attachments can come from a variety of places and experiences. And so, just to name a few traumatic experiences that it is that you may experience, negative emotions that are prolonged, like fear, anger, grief, jealousy, etc. Visiting high energy or haunted places. And when I say high energy, not necessarily something that is a place that's high vibrational, but just a place where there is a lot of a very strong spiritual presence, energetic exchanges, of course, with certain people, unhealed spiritual wounds, and even just walking down the street. I actually have a video example of this that I saw about 4 years ago. If I can find the clip, I'm going to insert it. But of course, if you don't see it, then that means I couldn't find it. Maybe if I find it later on, I can post it on my community tab or something like that. But anywho, now that you all know what they are and how to recognize them, let's go over some additional key signs. Now, just as a disclaimer, okay, before we dive into these signs, it's important that you all understand that not everything unusual or negative in your life is caused by a spiritual attachment or even anything spiritual to begin with. Many of these symptoms, such as fatigue, anxiety, mood changes, or sleep disturbances, can have medical, psychological, or even environmental explanations. So if you're experiencing persistent issues in this area, it's always a good idea to rule out physical or mental health causes first by consulting a medical professional. This video is meant for spiritual awareness and discussion, not a substitute for medical or mental or professional advice. So, sign number 1, sudden or unexplained changes in their behavior. If someone you know is acting totally out of character, I mean sudden mood swings, aggression, or withdrawal, and mental health professionals or even medical professionals really don't have an explanation for it, it could be a sign of an attachment. You would really need to get a spiritual opinion on it to determine further. Many people that have experienced attachments have reported change in their personality or interests, as if something else is influencing influencing them. And again, this does mimic other, actual DSM disorders and different things like that. So always consult, a medical and mental health professional as well. Just want to restate that disclaimer. Let's move on to number 2. Mental and emotional disturbances. So feeling overwhelmed with fear, sadness, or paranoia for no reason. This can be an external force interfering with your energy. People with attachments often report intrusive thoughts that they don't feel like are their own. Now, I know a lot of us experience intrusive thoughts, but again, this is not always an attachment. This is intrusive thoughts that are really like out of the ordinary that you may feel like you may actually act upon without being prompted to act upon them. Right? So, all right, let's move on to number 3. Physical symptoms with no clear cause. So if you're feeling constantly drained, heavy, or dealing with unexplained aches and pains, attachments can manifest in the body as fatigue, dizziness, or pressure in the head and ringing in the ears. Many people also feel cold spots or chills that don't seem normal as well. Number 4, sleep disturbances and night terrors. So we already know what this is. I don't necessarily have to explain it, but if you're waking up exhausted all the time, it is not just because you're staying up late or going to sleep on a full stomach and your food doesn't have time to digest. Or if you're experiencing night terrors or you're having sleep paralysis on a regular basis. Not like, a one-off every now and then, but I'm talking like almost every night you're experiencing sleep paralysis. You can book a reading, on my website, or if you don't want to book with me, maybe find another trusted resource to help you mitigate that issue, because that's a problem. That's not normal. All right, number 5. Energetic and spiritual sensations. So you might find yourself repelled by spiritual tools. So like you might avoid meditation if you once enjoyed it. Avoid praying or affirmations, and you like different spiritual routines and tools it is that you utilize that you actually once enjoy that actually did help you. And even sacred objects, like you kind of avoid sacred objects that that may have once helped you. All of a sudden you don't want anything to do with those things. So those are the 5 major signs of a spiritual attachment. So if any of these things sound familiar to you, don't panic, because there are ways to clear spiritual attachments. The best course of intervention is to first get a read. Well, before you get a reading, go and first, if you haven't already, go and talk to an actual medical or mental health professional to rule out any of those things. And also sometimes those mental health and those medical ailments, different things like that, they actually can coexist with the spiritual as well, because most things or everything, depending on who you ask or which school of thought you come from, do actually start in the spiritual first before they manifest in the physical. So sometimes you can be dealing with the fallout of both the physical fallout of something that is occurring spiritually. And there's more that I could say about that. I know I've been saying it a lot this video, because this topic is so much more deeper than however long this video is going to be. I can really dive in and really go really deep, but I really just wanted to touch the surface to first introduce it to you, because sometimes our regular human interventions before we even move to the spiritual side of things can actually help before you even have to get to the spiritual, or you can use them both in tandem. So like I was saying, so if you've ruled out medical and professional opinions and different things like that, or diagnosis, the best course of action next is an intervention with with an experienced diviner or spiritualist, and really somebody who can actually heal. Because sometimes like if you go to a reader, they might can only tell you what's going on, but they don't really have a course of action, like an actual course of action for you that will help you, that will help remedy your situation. And so again, so if you are experiencing this stuff, get yourself to an experienced diviner or spiritualist to see what type of energy is attached to you, because situations like these are not always one size fits all. Even the few remedies that it is that I'm gonna, or potential remedies rather, that I'm gonna give you at the end of this video, they're not one size fits all. So if you try any of these things and you don't see anything working, it could be because A, it might not be an attachment, or B, you might actually need something that is more personalized for yourself. Now, I just also want to give another disclaimer for those of you that, dabble with extremely chaotic forces. Some people may call them evil or demonic or dark. Okay, anything of that liking and equivalent, then these things especially ain't gonna work for you.
And believe in
It
God.
doesn't matter. She's tampering in dark-sided stuff. Yes, she did. The entire house is dark-sided.
She said her whole house is.
She is dark-sided too.
This video, you really need to get yourself to probably an exorcist if something is going on. I mean, you can book a reading with me as well, because I do actually know an exorcist that I would be able to refer you to if you even got to that point. But if you need an exorcist, you probably not even watching this video, if I'm being honest. But anywho, let me go ahead and move on with the topic of the video. So these things are going to teach you how to remove and or to prevent a spiritual attachment. So a lot of these things you can use on a regular basis to actually prevent things, to help, fortify your spaces, fortify yourself in your area, and different things like that. And so again, there are levels to this kind of spiritual work. So for the sake of this video being an overview of the concept and not a deep dive, I'm going to give some novice level advice, because this stuff is literally not one size fits all. But anywho, let's just go ahead. So the most obvious first thing that it is that you need to do is to protect your energy. So you can use minerals like iron, moissanite, hematite, and onyx. These items are meant to strengthen your aura and to keep it protected. Find you a pendant and keep in, or you can just, make your own to put your own energy and intentions and things like that into it. One thing that I do want to point out about iron, and actually hematite as well, is that iron, and I say hematite as well because hematite has a high iron content. And so if you work with fairy spirits, or if you have fairy spirit guides, you have to be mindful of working with iron around them, because iron can actually harm them. So just to be mindful and aware. If you do have any questions, you can put them in the comment section, and if I can answer them for you, if it's not something that would require something that's very specific and tailored to you, then I'll be more than happy to answer it. But let's go on to the next thing. So the next thing is obviously smudging and cleansing. So burning dragon's blood, because dragon's blood is a very strong cleanser and a protector. It's more so a protector and different things like that. Copal. I love me some white copal. I actually like gold copal too. And if you can find black copal, that will be perfect as well. Frankincense and myrrh. Okay, burn those two together. Okay, because the frankincense is going to cleanse the area, and then the myrrh is going to attract those things to dispel it. Okay, to like get it out of the home. So it's best to move them, not move them, to use them both in tandem. Again, all of these things remove impurities in the home. I would give out a spiritual bath recipe, but again, that would be something that would really need to be determined in a reading to see what ingredients are needed for your situation, or if a bath would even be helpful, because baths are not always necessary for everyone. So yeah. And speaking of baths, one quick thing that it is that you can do though is take an ice cold bath. Now, if you got health issues, don't be doing this. Matter of fact, don't follow any of the advice of in this video, okay? Or if you're skeptical, I don't recommend any of these things. But as far as baths go, you can take an ice cold bath. If you are low on money or low on resources, or if you are new, to this whole practice, an ice cold bath, an ice cold shower, like getting like actual ice and soaking it in water and pouring it over yourself. Or if you are very sensitive to stuff like that, just turn your shower on the coldest setting and just pray, affirm, and shock that all that almost cuss, my fault, but shock all that stuff up off of you. Our CNS, or central nervous system, is literally connected to our aura, which is why clairsentience, and psychic sense and all these other different spiritual concepts are an actual thing, because the two are connected. And so taking an ice cold shower or pouring an ice cold water bath over yourself will help to get any nastiness up off of you. Anything, any lethargy, it will help to just get anything that has a spiritual and even a non-spiritual thing. It will help to like really get you reactivated and get you moving and going again. Another obvious thing that it is that you can do is to raise your vibration. It is so important to stay or do your best to stay in high frequency emotions like love, joy, gratitude, peace, pleasure, different things like that. But for, of course, the average person, including myself, this isn't always enough unless you are a true alchemist, or magi and different things like that, which I'm sure most of you watching this video are not. And so that is the importance of layering, the spiritual work that it is that you do, because that's why we have symbols of power in different tools like the iron, the moissanite, the hematite, and the onyx, and of course other minerals that do remain in that high frequency, where their frequency remain constant and do not change. That's the importance of, having those tools on us, having those tools and things like that around the home, to help to circumvent, negative and adversarial influences, or even just, our common day-to-day, fluctuation of emotions and feelings that it is that we may go through. So yeah. And one of the most simplest and overlooked things that it is that we can do to avoid spiritual attachments, is to stay away from shitty people and shitty situations and environments. Now, of course, if we work in a toxic work environment, especially with the current job market, it can be very difficult to just, up and leave and up and change your job. And so that's why, layering all of the different advice in this video or any content that it is that you come across that is helpful to helping you to, keep yourself cleansed, pure, and protected, and high vibing or whatever, and solid, even when you're not high vibing. Using all of these tools and things like that in conjunction is so important, until, you can get yourself out of a toxic work environment, or even a toxic home environment, and different things like that. There is a solution to every problem that it is that we have. Sometimes we just have to try out different things and maybe use, those different things, all together in one. So take responsibility for, your spiritual health, for your physical health, and do the best, that it is that you can, because it is possible. So in conclusion, spiritual attachments can be unsettling, but awareness and proper intervention is the first step to protecting yourself and to getting rid of it. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more spiritual insights. Let me know in the comment section, have you ever experienced anything like this before? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And that concludes this video, everyone. If you're interested in booking an Akashic Records or cartomancy reading with me, that information is in the description box. See you in the next video or on my calendar. Bye.